India received over 81 billion US dollars in foreign direct investment last year. A big chunk of that capital is going into manufacturing. But here is the thing. Setting up a factory in India is not just a construction project. It is a multi-year strategic undertaking. Most people underestimate what it actually involves.
The first thing manufacturers should check is whether the full cost stack has been mapped, not just land and construction, everything duties, compliance, infrastructure, and working capital. Those hidden costs are where most project budgets break down.
The actual cost of setting up a manufacturing plant in India covers much more than most expect. There is no single number. It depends on sector, location, size, and specification. But here is what most people miss. Land and civil construction are just two of the main line items.
There are at least six more cost components that regularly catch manufacturers off guard. First is grid connection. In some states, the power infrastructure timeline is 12 to 18 months. Then come import duties on equipment. Basic customs duty plus integrated goods and services tax can add 15 to 30% on top of the equipment cost depending on the category. Next, workforce recruitment and training are highly underallocated. They are typically budgeted at 3 to 5%, while the reality is closer to 8 to 10% of the project cost. Lastly, underestimating startup capital. Most businesses need 4 to 6 months of backup cash to survive before making money. This crucial buffer is often completely left out of the initial capital expenditure plan.
Timelines are the other area where expectations and reality tend to diverge. For a standard greenfield facility, manufacturers should plan for 24 to 42 months from project sanction to commissioning. The range depends heavily on your sector and which state you are setting up in.
The regulatory layer is where most timelines slip. You need approvals at both central and state levels, and they run on different clocks. At the central level, the key ones are environmental clearance from the Ministry of Environment and sector specific licenses, drug manufacturing, food safety, and so on. At the state level, the critical path items are consent to establish from the State Pollution Control Board and the electricity load sanction from the state distributor. In case of the load sanction alone, getting approval for your power connection can take 6 to 24 months in some states. And if your sector qualifies under the production linked incentive scheme, that registration must happen before production starts, not after.
A few specific mistakes delay manufacturing projects more than anything else. We see teams fall into these same traps constantly.
One of the most common mistakes we see is starting construction too early. Building without your consent to establish invites a total shutdown, which can stall construction for up to 18 months. Another big trap is a delayed power application. You need to apply for that electricity load sanction on day one, not months down the line. Budgeting is another area where people stumble. Incomplete budgets that only cover land and building costs leave out mandatory expenses like duties and working capital. Lastly, avoid rushing your contractor selection. Skipping a proper competitive tender for the first available option usually costs you more and hurts build quality.
India in 2026 is a genuinely strong manufacturing destination. The incentives are real. The domestic market is real. The infrastructure is improving. But the complexity is also real, and it rewards people who plan for it properly. If you are evaluating India or already executing your launch, IMARC Engineering supports projects from feasibility to commissioning. Let's discuss how to de-risk your project.